The light of terror shines for us. Pay attention. Duty prevails.
There's an odd smell to this amasek. It seems very likely that the drink has been poisoned.
Activating motive force reserves.
Among the words of pairing and praise for the deceased, a fresh entry stands out. Repentance, with a sign underneath fid. The letters are scrapped and buried.
The Emperor favors me today.
Does indeed. The tall man who welcomed you at the entrance is shifting from foot to foot and keeps glancing around with a gloomy expression. This is an honor, your lordship. Such an honor. Could you spare a minute of your time? I have a request to make. What's your name? I am Degan Othio. I was first mate of Den's ship. I mean Master Ballardo. Who is Ballardo? How Ballardo died? Badly. He went downhill real fast just a year ago. He was still living it up, storming the slums, asteroids to shoot riffraff and mutants, and then all of a sudden he was done. His old wounds had caught up with him, and he had plenty of those, both from the old days and more recent ones, like when somebody tried to bump him off. 12 years back, I think it was. Did Ballardo ever mention repentance to you? No, but I don't know what you're talking about. There's scribbles in his home, right? Yeah, it happened, alright. That writing just appeared out of nowhere. On the walls, the mirrors, and always the same word, repentance. I told him to get Psyche to check this house for sorcery, but he said no. Too pricey, I guess. He said something about that, how he had already paid too much for repentance. Not a lot of psyches around, and single one of them will cost you as much as a team of top-notch bruisers. Hey, listen friend, how long did that go on? The writing. Anything else strange happen in the household? Flying knickknacks, furniture growing tentacles, people dying for no reason. Oh, All kinds of things happen, my girl. Things going flying, people dying too, servants, that is. Whenever we felt like remembering our glory days and got sloshed on half a jug of the good stuff, that's when it would happen. I remember one time we decided to see who could carve open servitors in the dark the quickest. Dagan grins, then catches himself and glances at you. Alright, serious talk? Nah, nothing like that in his house. Nothing sorcerers apart from the writing. As for then, when it began, Xenos know. 10-12 years ago. He turns to you and shakes her head. No, it'd be good to take a look at the writing. But if I had to guess, it doesn't sound like a warp influence to me. If something really did take up residence in this house, it would have made the biggest splash in 10 years. Like a dozen corpses big. Well, anyway, what did you wish to speak about? Here's the thing, your lordship. You'll give it to you straight. I'm sorry, I don't know how to talk to lofty folk. When Dens, that is Belardo, my old friend and boss, died, and he left all he had, and he had a lot, mind you, to this Fidelio. That was a kid of rude of him. That's no way to treat your friends. I get it, he left his useless son high and dry, and a good thing too, but his old friend? So I'm thinking, maybe you can step in and set things right, intervene in a matter of inheritance. Oh, I don't know. Why did Dens leave you out of his will? Old age, you know, his head wasn't the same anymore. Yeah, that's got to be it. It was just too unfair. To fly with him for 10 years and didn't get nothing for it. And who is Fidelio? Deacon winces like he has toothache. I wish I knew. I've heard the name when Dens kicked it. Maybe Fidelio Hall, who put a smile on his face in his golden years, and so Dens decided to give them the whole kit and caboodle. What do you want from me? You are a distinguished sort. You can muscle on this. You can talk to Chaplain, he's Denzen executor, and ask about the will. Or maybe you can find Fidelo and have talk with them too. I mean, who want to inherit that's rightful? That's not rightful theirs. More trouble than it's worth, if you ask me. And trust me, all digging can be of service to you if you need anything. I know lots about footfall and other things. I can help with information and get you some solid lads for your job. You can use a guy like me. I'll consider it. That's good, really great. The amasek that you ordered your servitor to remove was poisoned. What a fascinating coincidence. He looks at you in the eye. Poison? No, it can't be. Must have been a bad batch.
Carry the Emperor's will as your torch.
It is my destiny to traverse the unknown.
You're on the right. You're on the right path, Seeker. Remember the place. Small, quiet, large windows.
How can one find the right way without his light?
Is it- My patience. You remember the way out? Dismissed. A tall man in austere grey clothes make a show of looking past the woman he's addressing. Vladim. What as he puts such harsh words into your mouth. You talk like you're Imperial clerk, not one of us. The woman who is standing with her back to you lets out a astonishing sigh, and her tone changes dramatically. Where's my cargo, Vladim? Falco has it, doesn't he? So that's how you do business with your old friends these days? So do you remember? Then the help will remind you. God, score her out. Hiedari move. The massive guard leans down to the woman and says in a low voice, Jawa, get going while he's letting you. Go drown your sorrows at the Amasekos and thank your lucky stars you were able to walk out of the door. You won't get the chance next time. First an insult and now threats. I see courtesy and tact are no longer a valid commodity on footfall. Oh well, I'll find myself a better deal. She turns on her heel and heads towards the exit. As she passes you by, she gives you a quick once-over wink at you, then immediately turns away with a flip of her jet black hair. The tall man, who has long since noticed your presence, is studying you intently. Vladin Tokara, liege of footfall, let us please proceed to my office. A spread befitting a visitor of your rank is waiting. Your entourage will be accommodated nearby. I was expecting a welcome befitting a visit from the rock trader, not a scene. My apologies, it was no sign of respect towards you, esteemed personage. Please allow me to prove it. While you engage in a small talk, you get a chance to take a measure of Leash Tokara. His expression is aloft and focused, his gestures curt and firm, and his speech calm and quiet, as though he is used to people always listening to what he says. Judging by his observant gaze, he has been studying you in turn this whole time. Vladim straightens in his chair and says in a polite but completely indifferent tone, let's talk business. On behalf of the elite of the footfall station, I offer you my condolences, Lord von Valencius. We mourn Lady Theodora loss, and we hope this sentiment is taken as a sign of our good intentions and willingness to cooperate. I've had most sincere expression of grief. He nods calmly. A fair point. You can, however, be assured of the sincerity of my desire to cooperate with you. It was a bold move on your part to announce yourself as a new rock trader of von Valencia's dynasty, despite not yet having your status confirmed by anyone of import from the Imperium. I appreciate such traits in people. It's good to understand who you're dealing with. As you may have noticed, footfall is currently in a state of crisis. Its people would benefit from the patronage of a figure such as yourself. There was this woman, the warden threw out. Vladim's expression hardens and he makes a frustrated gesture. A dead woman walking. Some, however, still call her Haydari, a small-time hustler with big ambitions that will lead her to a sticky end. It's strange, a small-time hustler, even a particularly audacious one, wouldn't likely quarrel in public with a figure as important as the Liege of Footfall. What seems stranger still is that the Liege know his small fry but the name. She is irrelevant, since I'm the one in control of the situation on Footfall. I can speak on behalf of all of its noteworthy residents. You know, as a attack right at the docks. An outrageous stunt, a show of disrespect for both you and me. Sadly, such incidences on Footfall are akin to natural disasters, impossible to predict or preempt. They simply happen. Many consider Footfall to be a pirate den, but believe me when I say that there is a difference between organized crime and gangs of thugs who have nothing to lose. You were attacked by the latter. The Anvers are a gang of punks who spit on our customs and hierarchy. Even their leader is more akin to an ideologue, a rabble-rustle who calls for people's heads. Not a commander. Sooner or later we will find him and have him strung up. That will likely cool his follower enthusiasm. Behind the carefully built facade of composure, you sense anger. It appears that this man is not used to losing control, but this is exactly what is happening. I would like to know more about the Anvers gang. Why haven't they been dealt with yet? He grits his teeth slightly before answering. I've been using my resource to delay the moments when the station is hit by Femen. I haven't gotten around to the Anvers yet. As determined as they are, they are no players. Their leader dies and the rest will scatter. The negligence which you do business is insulting for an individual on my statue. He gives you a tense look and says quietly, "Could a humble gift from me smooth over the inadvertently caused affront?" Keep your brides for the off-word administrator clerk, you idiot. You're addressing the rogue trader. He grins his teeth and bows his head repentantly. I beg your forgiveness. So what is the situation in the region? Troubling. Xenos raids are growing more frequent, trade is suffering, and fringe worlds are going under. Rumors of atrocities being committed by enemies of humanity are causing excessive panic due to their exotic nature. The core of the Imperium forces in the Corona's expanse has departed for the sector's borders to combat the Xenos threats. There has been no word from them for a while now. Then again, with the distance and the current issue with Astropath, this is not entirely out of the ordinary. Still, we are not yet alone. From several of the worlds hit by Xenoattack, we've received reports of fierce warrior who descended from the sky and entered the fray. The fragmentary accounts lead to believe that the blessed Adeptus Astres are opening in the Corona's expanse and await news of the victories with great anticipation. Have them being Xenos attack on Footfall? No, they haven't. Attacking Footfall in general is not a particularly reasonable thing to do. Many ships are docked here at any given time, and even the listed weapons on board them would make for a decent fighting force. And that's not to mention a firepower that our esteemed merchants have shamefully hidden from the station customs officials. For us here, Xenos are more of a source of income than a threat. Vladimir freezes his gauge in your reaction. You should consider your words more carefully. An admission like that sounds dangerously close to heresy. I hear you. You must have misunderstood. What I meant was loyal servants of the Emperor often trade their spoils here on Footfall, including those claimed in battle with otherworldly beasts. Any other forms of interaction with Xenos are of course prosecuted without mercy. What sort of patronage do you seek from me? Protection. Not military protection, but a different kind of security. You have, of course, already encountered difficulties with warp navigation on your way here. I'm afraid the scope of these difficulties extend far beyond this area. Reports of disturbed routes and ships vanishing during short jumps are coming in from across the entire sector. Communication with the Kali sector has been extremely unstable. Of the ships that have dived into the Maw in recent years, none have returned. The last ships that came through the Maw from the other side was struck by the temporal anomaly, and the jump took almost two decades in real space-time. You have heard of periods of warp instability, including cases where the Maw would become completely inaccessible for navigation for years on end, just temporarily cutting off the current's expanse from the Imperium. Even some Vladim words are particularly alarming. It seems that something has had a profound effect on the Maw. And this brings us to our main issue. Footfall is a rapid shipyard and a training post. We barely produce anything ourselves and are largely dependent on incoming shipment, especially food shipments. The station naturally has some reserves, but the supply issues didn't start yesterday. Footfall will be obliging if House von Valencius would assist by signing a contract for food deliveries. I can't be the only one you've asked for help. Naturally, I tried contacting the other rock traders, but the terms of how Jorda would have bled Footfall dry, and as for the esteemed Caligos winter scale, instead of food shipment from him I receive a transport, the Navika, packed with refugees. I had to send them off to the Foulstone. So many extra mouths to feed would have only worsened the crisis further. I suppose all the warp fluctuation must have created more pressing concerns for Lord Winterscale, and so I put my faith in you and third and the last of Footfall allies. So Footfall is cut off from all the shipments, the local gangs are running wild, and the local hustlers are throwing tantrums in your residence. Are you positive you are in control of the situation? Vladimir listened with a stony expression. You are very perceptive. Well, now you know what you are buying. The situation is difficult, but should you decide to offer your support, you'll forget about the existence of trading hubs other than Footfall, because you won't have more loyal friends anywhere else. What are the terms? It's simple. Delivery of food shipment from your fertile words, Janus, I imagine. I'm quite familiar with the jewel of the von Valencius Protectorate. In exchange for fair payment. Get on your knees and ask properly, then I will help. Vladim's eyes narrows as he gives you a comprising look, then kneels. His body, unaccustomed to such display of obedience, moves slowly as the air has suddenly grown thick. This is the price for the station prosperity. I will pay it. What is happening in the shadow quarters? Why is there quarantine? Or that, he grimaces, who knows? It could be an actual epidemic, or perhaps the two families that started it all just came down with food poisoning at the same time. We are on a space station. The best solution here is to isolate the area and wait for the problem to resolve itself. I've been Yeah, right, Liege. The deaths on the people in the quarantine zone is a necessary price to pay for the situation's security. I'm glad you've come to understanding. We will wait until there is no one left alive who can spread the disease. Then we'll meticulously burn the place and fumigate it with a special compound. That should solve the problem. Where does one go to make a few deals here on the station? Here, I'm the main dealer of the station, and I would be disrespectful of me to suggest that you take your business to footfall traders of lesser importance. Still, you might take an interest in a few people of note. For example, Reverend Hieronymus Doloroso. This servant of the ecclesiarchy is rumored to purchase sacred relics from captains, and other traders don't seem keen to become his competitors. If you're looking for goods that can entertain you, find Octaviana at the establishment called the Adeptus Amascus. The chemical bliss that she offers is refined and possesses a satisfactory degree of purity. Just don't ask her to pour you her signature drink. It's meant for common footfall rabble, not discerning clientele. Let's talk about footfall. Rest assured, I will be candid. My lips are bound by the oath of service. What exactly interests you on footfall? This abode is merchants, xenotech traders, and only a few bandits. What oath were you referring to? There is a certain custom on footfall. Any rock trader who arrives at the station and docks is considered to be its absolute ruler, and the liege, the royal servant. That makes me your servant. Vladim's arrogant bearing contradicts his words. So I can just blow your brains out and then initiate a new liege. Surely you don't think that this is my first time at gunpoint, your lordship. You can do it, of course, but I don't think that one of your point will last longer than an hour. Let's spare their life and refrain from testing your theory, especially since I'll be of use to you when the esteemed Caligos Winterscale returns and sees the losses his protectorate has sustained. Something tells me you used to be a bit of a bandit yourself. You aren't wrong. My path long and bloody, but in the end I rose from running a gang that had staked its claim to a treatment filter station and becoming the leisured footfall. Many died to make this possible, and those who survived figured it would be more convenient to put me at the head than continue the slaughter of the Tier 4. I can only hope that my elevation and the peace that came with it have done the station good. What will happen to you if I tell everything I've just heard to the leaders of the other gangs? You can try, but they won't believe you, because if you are right, they'll have to start a war, kill me, divvy up the station again. Why would they want to do that? It's not enough to tell people the truth. One must make them want to believe. There is a sound logic to having the sharpest mind run the station. The administratum would install some pitiful clerk instead. I appreciate you breadth of thinking. In this day and age, few choose to allow themselves such thing. Who hold the reins of Xenogoods trade? The Casablanca mission, a criminal syndicate that has seized control of the entirety of the coal trade in the sector. Xenos creations are in high demand, and so every single colony has a Casablancan agent or two. Opposing their commercial interest is a lot more dangerous than using the merchandise. He glances at you cautiously. I'm not intimidated by them, obviously, and I do everything in my power to keep them away from Footfall, but my power has its limits. Let's have a look. We have them. Focal. Lord Captain, I'm pleased to report that inspections have been completed and all identified system failures have been resolved. The void ship is ready to depart Footfall. The crew is waiting for your further instruction, and there are also a number of issues that need to be addressed.
The future is never certain.
What deeds await us?
A well-groomed young man calls out to you. He's clean-shaven and dressed in clothes that are expensive but unshowy, with a bright aquila embroidered in a prominent spot. Your Lordship, I humbly ask for a minute of your time. I am Bastion in Gemera Bastia Corda, youngest cousin of House Chorda, envoy of Incendia Bastal Chorda, rock trader of the Coroner's Expanse by the grace of the Most Holy Emperor. Chorda, they are some of the most influential rock traders in the Coroner's Expanse, but not in the Footfall. The station is under control of the House Winterscale. Something tells me that we are about to hear a most curious offer, says Abelard under his breath and that only can hear him. Why do you wish to speak to me about? A matter of the utmost delicacy. You see, you've been to the residence of the Liege. Vladim almost certainly appealed to you for assistance in the arrangement of shipments to Footfall. The Von Valetius Protectorate is famed for the abundance of main agri-world, Janus. It would be odd for him not to seize us on much of an opportunity when Footfall is on the verge of famine. However, the Chorda dynasty pursues its own interest on Footfall. We have already announced our terms to the Liege, but he is stalling. I imagine he hopes of getting better offer from you. The Chorda dynasty believes, Bastion smiles and gives you a slight shrug, that cooperation would be preferable for the both rock traders' houses. If you refuse Vladim, thereby forcing me to agree to a deal with us, the Chorda dynasty can promise you a share of the profit from the future on the contract, as well as certain other prerequisites, everybody's benefits. An Emperor most loyal servant should be more concerned with carrying his will through the stars and less with divvying up profit among themselves. Argenta says disapprovingly, but quiet enough so not to interrupt the negotiation. Especially when the well-being of one of the Imperium's world is at stake, even such as a footfall. Behind your smile, Master Bastion, teal shadow of Swill. Others may not see them, but you worry cannot escape me. What are you afraid of? Your house wrath should this negotiation prove fruitless? Or the wrath of the House of Valencius? Idris, who was yawning in boredom a moment ago, flinches and clutches her face, her fingernails digging into her skin. They are coming, again, brothers of the one who came before. I just don't get it. Do they all have a death wish? I appreciate you wondering, Indra. What? Bastion stares at you in surprise and turns around.
I see your darkened colors.
She sees my darkened colors.
I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
I'll do it. Doubt is for the weak. None can escape the Emperor's judgment. Faith without deeds is worthless. God Emperor, move through me. Be the fire in my heart. My faith shields me.
One fewer target. Indeed.
Isn't this a job for the serfs? Face the navigator's might. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
I will do my duty. I took care of this one.
Advancing. My vow is to serve.
At your beck and call. It will be done. Reduced to dust.
Was that you? Or... I know what is to come. Will do.
Guided by faith! I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, eradicated.
If I may, as duty demands. I'm afraid not. I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
Heavy is the tread of his faithful. Running binary override. Vital function successfully terminated. The order is contrary to dogmatic protocols. Request approved.
I'm a navigator, another foe painted black.
At your beck and call. Indeed. You a target.
Tried and tested tactics are the best ones.
Victory is imminent.
Anything else?
I will bathe this battlefield in righteous fury. Doubt is for the weak. Righteous prayer.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
The scriptural prognosis is favorable.
At your beck and call. I will do my duty.
The whispers must be appeased. Did I mention that my whispers tell me jokes? Jokes that, once said aloud, make your eyes bleed and blood curdle. Talk about black comedy. Say no more.
Agenda Justice for your attention. Rock Trader, I would like to remind you about Ravenhunt Hinome's request. He asked us to search the potential cultist den in Footfall Shadow Quarters. You seem weighed down by something. What? No! Ajenga shakes her head and rubs her temples rapidly. Apologies, Rock Trader. Being here on Footfall is difficult for me. It's a minor personal weakness, but I'm as ready as to fight as ever. I will have no effect on my combat skills. I would like to know what the secret is. Members of my crew cannot have secrets from me. You are right, I will explain. It's about the circumstances of my arrival on Footfall. I wasn't born in the Expanse. I was sent here by the Guardian of the Reliquary on Footfall. But my ship became caught in a warp anomaly, and although it lasted only days for those on board, decades have passed in the real space. When at last I arrived on Footfall, it felt like it had been erased from time. No one was waiting for me on this side of the moor. The people who were supposed to greet me, who knew about my imminent arrival, had died. The reliquary that should have been mine to safeguard had instead been taken under the protection of Rivenred Hinoramus and his brethren. They were more than up to the task. They had no need of my help. Footfall became my cage. I didn't know who I was or what purpose I had here. The way back to Calixis seems like another trap. Even if I were to find a ship headed there, my sector, my order, they too would have lived decades without me by this point. Whenever I'm reminded of those months spent on the footfall, it feels like I'm falling into a pit. I hope the rumor of Curtis turned out to be true. I can't wait to prove with my bolt that the world and the Imperium needs me. How and why did you stay on footfall come to an end? Something must have changed. Yes, a sign almost a portent showed me the right path, but it's not something I can speak of like this on the street in this den of malice. Let us be on our way. We'll say is that on footfall I met Lucy, Lady Theodora, and joined her, and that was the end of my language in this place. You know this place better than me. Do you think the rumors of heretics are true? There was time when I had said it was likely a fabrication. One can say many things about the Calabrix mission and the other shady operation on Footfall, but even those thugs are loyal to the Emperor, and so they mercilessly exterminate outright heretics in the territory. But now heretics have launched an open attack on rogue tradership. A member of your dynasty, Kunrad Vogtvir, has turned out to be one of them, and football itself is sinking deeper and deeper into madness. In this time of strife, I'm willing to believe in heretics who openly perform their dark rituals and breezily mark the dens with sacrilegious symbols.
This ocular implant was a worthwhile investment.
Anything worthy of my attention?
So shall it be.
The man with the shaggy mop and dark hair is dressed and armed about as well as everyone else in here, and yet he is unmistakably the leader. He takes a step towards you. He chuckles, he spreads his arm wide in welcoming gesture. My guest, what a joy it is to see you in my humble refuge. I see you've come here to be introduced to the truth. Which will you be chosen then? Words, fire, and metal? You already know the answer, heretic. Argenta grasps a weapon. Abelard, would you kindly inform this bantam vermin that we come to execute him? Abelard glowers menacingly and says in his best officer voice, by the order of the head of Von Valence's dynasty, a full-fledged rock trader with all the attendant rights and privileges, including authority on footfall, you riffraff are hereby sentenced to death. May the Emperor have mercy on your souls, for we will show none. The man cringes. Bloated old master of the universe who don't realize that the time has passed. You think you can scare me? Do you even know what our name means outside? Footfall calls us the Anvers, they do not stop to look, listen, learn. The man pauses, then half closes his eyes and proclaims in crude but clear High Gothic. Auxilo non venient, help will not come. The maw has closed, the curtains expand, and is all now. A new era has come, and it will be sovereigns.
Your doom has been foretold.
I will fight if I must.
It will be done. Target well struck. I took care of this one. I've suffered worse.
If I may,
At your back of grey hair, sure hand. My ears are ringing.
I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
I'll do it. Faith without deeds is worthless. Rejoice in battle! I'll do it.
Deliver us! No! These ruby flashes are choking me!
Damage is manageable. one route. Forward. Beyond the Cyan.
Will do. There is movement in the Empyrean. On it. Be gone! Will do.
Reduce the dust. Indeed. At your beck and call.
Emperor, deliver us! I am a navigator, not a servant. Isn't this a job for the serfs?
As the Emperor commands, I act. I'll do it. Faith without deeds is worthless.
Running binaric override.
They who discern the future own the battlefield.
I will do my one viewer target. Victory is imminent.
Emperor, give me strength. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain. If I may.
Request approved. The scriptural prognosis is favorable. Quest approved. As the tactical imperative dictates.
Stop it!
Brace yourself, Abelard.
Pain cleanses the body. Let's proceed.
I'll guide your vessel and lead you on your way.
What advice do you seek?
I go where the whispers lead.